All right, welcome. Good morning. I'm really thrilled to have Nino Barakis, who is the Manager of Account Services with Sportsnet. Nino, just before we get going, is it okay if I record our session to share with the students?
Of course, absolutely.
Awesome, thanks. So just a tiny little bit, so the students know that Nino is an alumni of Brock and Sport Management and was with the Ice Dogs for a number of years. So he comes from not only working with partners at Sportsnet, but has a long history of working with corporate partners with the Ice Dogs as well. Maybe we'll start today just by asking Nino, if you could share us a little bit about what you're doing these days with Sportsnet.
Sure. Let me start by apologizing with my lighting because I work next to a window, and when it's gloomy out like this, I don't get a ton of natural light in here. So I know I probably look a little strange with the one side all shaded here, but we'll get past that. But yeah, absolutely. So I started with Sportsnet back in October of 2019. My role is Manager of Account Services in integrated sports. So I am in charge of three portfolios: our hometown hockey business, our Hockey Day in Canada business, and our NHL Gaming World Championships business. My specific role is to manage our partnerships from an on-site standpoint for our events. I don't do a ton of work necessarily in the broadcast aspect of things. I am learning more and more of that as we go along, but specifically, I guess all of our sponsors that come on to be a part of our on-site festivals, I'm in charge of managing those relationships once they've been formed. Our sales staff obviously are the ones that go out and talk to the clients and talk to the agencies and make those partnerships come to fruition. But I'm in charge of helping to develop those ideas and then managing the partnerships once they are in existence.
Okay, huge responsibility. In our first session, we're really looking at the relationships between sport organizations and broadcasters. So can you just share a little bit about your insights? So how important are those advertisers to the television and the sports side of what Sportsnet does?
Yeah, I mean, very important. I mean, obviously, you can just start from a revenue standpoint. Obviously, like massive revenue generating partnerships with Sportsnet. But it gives us the ability to trade off things with one another as well. For example, I don't think a lot of people would necessarily recognize the fact that the NHL as a league is a partner of Sportsnet. Yes, we own the broadcast rights to broadcast it nationally, but it is considered a partnership. So when we need a favor, when another organization wants to run, a contest featuring NHL stuff, sure, it's a partnership. We can contact the NHL and lean on them for some things, just the way that they'll lean on us for some things, should they want extra things, assets broadcast or something like that, right? So obviously, partnerships are, it's almost like real life in the world today, where everything is give and take. So much of things is who you know and who you surround yourself with. And I think that's just very similar to us as a business with Sportsnet, and who you partner with it's got to be strategic. It has to be a good fit. And there has to be a really strong relationship there as well.
Okay, can you dwell a little bit more on that notion of the strategic fit? Like, what types of partners does Sportsnet look for? And then what is it that they're specifically looking for in their relationship with Sportsnet?
For sure. I guess I can start from a standpoint from Sportsnet again. So again, clearly, so much of our objectives are revenue based, and that's just the reality of the world we live in, right? However, with that being said, Sportsnet has to maintain a clean cut image, obviously, right? So there are certain companies out there that we wouldn't partner with, and I think I'll leave that to everyone's imagination to be able to figure out on their own. But yeah, and I think what we look to get out of it is a strong presence, so that the public that's watching Sportsnet and attending our festivals understand that we're picking these other partners based on the fact that it's going to be providing value to our viewers or our festival attendees. and that's really important to us. It's not just slap it. It's not getting a partner to just slap the Sportsnet logo on and they say, okay, you guys now take over everything. We want people that are, or we want partners that are going to be engaged with you know, meeting our needs and wants and desires of the public, and you know, obviously trying to get one up on our competition, I guess you could say. From a partner standpoint, typically what I see a lot of from an on-site standpoint is they're interested in getting involved in connecting with the public from a minor hockey level. I don't want to like say specific partners, but I can say one specifically from an on-site standpoint. Their goals were to penetrate that market a little bit better, the minor hockey market, and that's why Hometown Hockey was such a great fit for them. You know, certain partners want to be the hockey brand in their category. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't even mind saying it. Scotiabank, for example, obviously has a massive presence in hockey and in the NHL, and they take a lot of pride in being the hockey bank, quote unquote, right? So every partner has a different strategy, obviously, and you know, that's why we come to them and they come to us, and we see if those needs can be met and filled, and see what already exists in our portfolios, and to see where they can slide in and see where they fit in. And if there isn't a fit, it's a natural, I think, discussion that everyone can come to an agreement on, like, yeah, this probably just doesn't really work, but you know, let's see where we can make things work, maybe on your next brand strategy and stuff like that.
So you've hit on a real point that you might initiate a relationship with an organization that might evolve or change over time. Can you just speak to that a little bit? Maybe someone came in with just a small, you know, purchasing, you know, in terms of advertising or what have you on Sportsnet, and maybe how that evolved or built into something larger in terms of being greater involvement with Sportsnet?
For sure. I can say one specifically that, now this is not something I got to work on myself, but you know, I witnessed it all happen. If you guys remember, on Christmas Day, the Raptors had their first Christmas Day game this year, and it was a big deal for everyone. And you know, we were thrilled to come up with an agreement with Loblaws. And if anyone watched the broadcast, they aired it, I believe, during halftime, and it was kind of like a dinner with Serge Ibaka, and it was building on Serge's. I believe he had a YouTube channel or something where he was doing a lot of cooking and showcasing a lot of the dishes from, you know, his native country and things like that. So you know, we were able to do something with Loblaws and expand on their existing partnerships in commercial time and integrations and stuff like that, to do this complete custom content, which turned out really cool. I believe the producers were able to bring in Bianca Andreescu was one of them, Paul Bissonnette, Bo Bichette. So it was a lot of like great athletes, and they just had some really cool discussions about different things, superstitions, what they like to eat, favorite moments from when they were champions all throughout their careers, stuff like that. And I thought that was one that really came across great on TV, but was also a huge development and step up from what Loblaws was originally doing. And I think that just goes to showcase that if you do have these great partnerships and strong ties, that when ideas like this come up, you can really run with them and find someone that's interested right away. And Loblaws was a great partner, and they were so excited to do it. And it really came across well.
Okay. And how do you facilitate? Is that in your role? Are you just open to ideas if a partner came to you, or do you have an idea that you might run to a partner with, or say, you know, this is what we're thinking of?
All of the above. So, for example, I can name one that I think was really cool. So, for anyone who's been watching Raptors since the return of basketball here, we did one with Swiffer, where essentially it's like an animation where the Swiffer sweeper kind of cleans the floor of the screen and everything. And that was something that one of the guys on our team came up with, one of the digital guys, and went to Swiffer and said, hey, I think this could really look great on TV. And they ran with it. They loved it. But in my role specifically, when it comes to Hometown Hockey specifically as well, it's a little bit of both. So we're getting requests for proposals all the time, like all the time. And in that sense, they want to know, hey, this is our budget. What can you do for us? So we're coming to them with ideas. There are times when, you know, I come up with ideas from things that I just brought with me over from, to be honest, just the Ice Dogs experience. and said, hey, maybe this can work on hometown, and we put that in the bank, and we'll start to use that with RFPs and stuff like that. But a lot of the times, yeah, companies will come to us and say, hey, we want to be a part of hometown hockey in this capacity. How can we make it work? Do you think it'll work on your end? Do you think we should tweak it a little bit? And those things, so they certainly happen. So it's a little bit of everything that you mentioned there. Yeah.
Okay. So we have the broader strategic, relationships, and obviously the strength of the relationship may vary. It might even evolve over time to become stronger, depending on what you're doing. How important is the management of those relationships in terms of their success?
Well, I mean, with that being my role, I'm going to certainly say very important. But no, I honestly believe it's definitely crucial. I think a partnership is not only a relationship, obviously, between the two businesses, between Sportsnet and the sponsor out there, but I think it needs to be managed very personally. That's kind of my personal style with it. I like to create a little bit of a relationship with each client or agency that I'm working with specifically. And little things like that start out with a conversation of, when you have a business call, take 3-4 minutes just to see how everyone's doing. You know what I mean? Especially while everyone's working from home, and our lives have all changed so much in the last 4 or 5 months that, checking in on someone, I think people appreciate it. And I think that really does go a long way. So I can say specifically, again, I've only been on the job here for a year, but I think managing relationships is part of the reason that I was hired, because I think my boss saw me as a people person. And I think that really does go a long way into obviously not keeping, but like having a strong relationship throughout the flight of the sponsorship, but also renewal processes as well. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Nino, as you look moving forward, the students that are watching our video right now, they're in 4th year, they're going to be graduating. What would you say is the most important thing that they need to know about, like, partnerships or alliances or interorganizational relationships generally, like in terms of takeaways when they go out into the industry?
For sure. Flexibility is a huge one. Obviously, we had our last 3, I'll just give an example. Our last 3 weeks of hometown hockey this year had to be canceled / postponed, whatever word you want to use for it, because of COVID hit. We were all set to go out to North Vancouver. And on the Tuesday morning, we decided to cancel it because I believe it was the first death in Canada, unfortunately, happened in North Vancouver due to COVID. So, everyone was on the same page of taking those precautions. The city out there, felt that it wasn't necessary. And at Sportsnet, we didn't want to put anyone at risk, both from a public standpoint, but also from our employees' standpoint. So we had to be completely flexible in explaining to all the partners what was happening, what we were going to do with their dollars that they had already invested in things. And again, I think that we were able to do that so efficiently because we had such strong relationships with these people. And I think that really went a long way. Everyone was able to understand, and we were able to have very valuable and I'd say like efficient discussions to say, this is the next step. This is what we're going to do. So I think flexibility is huge. And I can also say, even on the hometown tour, a lot of times we'll have a sponsor that wants to, make a right-hand turn and do something different on site. And, maybe it's not necessarily what they agreed on in their contract originally, but you know what, we're going to work with you, and we're going to be flexible to try and figure out how we can continue this partnership and maintain, obviously its high level of cooperation and everything. So I think flexibility and being a people person and being willing to just have a professional relationship, but being able to mix in personal, I guess, aspects of it as well, just goes a long way.
Okay, great. Well, Nino, I'm actually going to take a minute and catch up with you personally.
For sure.
After we turn off the recording. But I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to share your insights with the Strategic Alliance Spma 4B25 students. And this has been amazing today. So truly appreciate it. And I wish you all the best with Sportsnet.
thank you, and to all the students there. You know, I was in your seat. Well, I guess maybe not your seat at home, but I was in your seat. I don't know, 9, 10 years ago now. So, you know, good luck and enjoy your 4th year at Brock, and great program. Yeah, good luck with everything.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dino.